This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN.Live. We're coming to you from the Dawson James Securities Small Cap Growth Conference 2019 here in Jupiter, Florida. I have with me Jack Stover, Interpace Diagnostics, and the symbol is IDXG. Jack, welcome to SNN.Live.
Thanks, Shelley. Nice to be here.
It's good to have you. Now let's get started with a little overview of the company. We'll go from there.
Surely. Briefly, Interpace is a molecular diagnostic company. We're focused on delivering services to both the physician healthcare system and now to biopharma companies as well.
Let's get a little history behind the company, if you would.
Surely. Thank you. Yeah, Interpace is obviously a NASDAQ-based company. We've been around for about 6 years. Again, we're headquartered in New Jersey, which is where we started with several acquisitions. We acquired a company called RedPath in Pittsburgh, which is the principal location of our pancreatic cancer assay, and we acquired the business of a company called PancraGEN in New Haven, Connecticut, which is the basis of our thyroid assay. Last year, we bought the assets of a company called Rosetta Genomics, principally in the thyroid business, and this year we bought the biopharma business of Cancer Genetics, located really right around the corner from us in Rutherford, New Jersey.
So it seems to me like you're more or less in the cancer business.
That's right. In fact, we are in the early cancer detection business. For the most part, what happens is that assays or biopsies come back to physicians that are indeterminate biopsies. So a physician doesn't know what to do with that biopsy result. Surprisingly, 30 or 40% of the biopsies in pancreatic and thyroid cancer are indeterminate. When that happens, they turn it over to us, and we do a molecular evaluation. Now, we use the same equipment working with basically the pharmaceutical companies to help identify customers for a clinical trial, as well as assist them in working with drug development activities.
So what would you say your competitive advantage is?
Our competitive advantage is we've been doing this for over 10 years. So we're not just an acquisition-based organization, but we have a breadth in molecular diagnostics since really the beginning of the industry over 10 years ago. Not only that, but we have a deep biomarker capability. So we have freezer farms of data that we utilize to assist us in our evaluation process. When you look at the verticals of thyroid, pancreatic cancer, nobody has more data and more information in that than we do.
Jack, would you call this personalized medicine?
Yes, very much so. This is really the basis of personalized medicine. So when you think about what happens at the pharmaceutical company basis, the mechanics of this is that we're looking to identify how and what drugs would be applicable to an individual person. As we roll this out into the diagnostic piece, which is also a part of our business, the component of that is how do we treat you differently than we treat other patients?
Let's get back for 1 minute to the clinical trials.
Sure.
So how do you work that through in your system now that you have hospitals involved?
Yes, so they are two separate businesses. We have two different sales teams. One team that calls on doctors and healthcare systems, another team that calls on pharmaceutical companies. So it's very, very different. The core capabilities, though, in terms of the methodologies that we use, such as next-gen sequencing, are basically the same. Now, we do them in different facilities. The mindset and the attitude of our personnel are very different. In one case, it's very much about turnaround time and repetition. In the other, it's very much about a white glove service. So they're different, but they utilize the same core capabilities.
What would you estimate? You probably know more than an estimate. You probably have the exact number. What's your target market size?
Sure. It's difficult to say because it's a moving target. But if you look at it in terms of pancreatic cancer, which is an area that we're focused on, that's roughly a $300 to $400 million market. Interestingly enough, on the thyroid side, it's also about a $300 to $400, and some people say $500 million market. When you roll this over and look at the size of the pharmaceutical industry, our principal focus now with our biopharma business is in immuno-oncology, and so that is a huge market. One of our principal customers is Merck. and we're very much involved in the Keytruda process at Merck, or the development. Keytruda is projected to be almost a $6 billion drug in the next 2 or 3 years. It may be the largest drug ever.
What's your background in some of the key management?
Yeah, thank you. We have a great team in terms of personnel, and most of our management team are doctors or PhDs. My background is actually a finance background, and so as you look at sort of the acquisition methodologies of what we've done, the organization of what we've done, it's been kind of a perfect match. So I've run other public companies, and I was also a partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers, where we did consulting almost exclusively in the biotech industry.
So as a public company, please only tell me what you can. What are some growth drivers going forward?
Surely. Well, with the recent acquisition that we did of Cancer Genetics, we also brought on board one of the largest private equity investors in our space, a company called Ampersand Capital Partners in Boston. They're spectacular. And I think what you'll see from us is the opportunity to do additional acquisitions. And actually, if you look at us, where we've effectively done 5 or 6 acquisitions, we're a bit of a roll-up model for other people in the lab space. And if you look at us, we're really broadly based, both in the clinical and in the pharmaceutical side. So it's really a nice kind of an opportunity and a target. So that's number one. Number two is we continue to get reimbursement improvement across our spectrum of products, and that for our business is always critical. And in addition to that, we're scientifically based. So you'll see, including today, you'll see public announcements about information around our products that will be released and coming to market that help us both in terms of reimbursement, but also in terms of competitive positioning.
Jack, let's get your website out for more information, if you would.
InterpaceDiagnostics.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Stover, Interpace Diagnostics, publicly traded company on NASDAQ. Symbol is IDXG. I'm Shelley Kraft. We're coming to you live from the Dawson James Securities Small Cap Growth Conference 2019, Jupiter, Florida. Jack, thanks for coming on.
Shelley, thank you.
My pleasure.